here with the infamous Jamie Jensen.
Hi.
That's your camera. That's my camera.
Oh, okay, look at that one. All right.
If you want.
I'm sure I'm going to look really large. Turn sideways.
I always find sideways is worse.
Is it? Oh, I don't know. I should probably not be crunched up like this. Probably.
I mean, I think about it all the time. Look, they can see that on me.
They
You
can.
just got to let it go.
Yeah, don't let them see the large.
Don't do that because they'll jerk off to it.
Oh, okay. All right, keep them down.
No feet.
Keep them down. Size 12, baby.
12?
Yeah, I'm a 12 now. Yeah, that's what happens when you get pregnant. You get bigger
Not
in all
12.
directions. Yes.
I'm a 10.
Yes. I'm an 11 and a half, right? But then if you put socks on, it's a 12.
Let me see.
I thought
They look the same. They look normal.
No, they're big boys. They're big boys.
Huh.
Yeah, I could surf on them. Yeah.
I know. Do you ever I always do the thing if I'm dating somebody, I'll feel weird taking my shoes off near their shoes because I'm like.
The men I date wear my shoes.
Yeah.
Like they'll be like, oh, these are great sneakers.
But when you're first starting out.
No, you got to hide them. It's like you don't
it.
fart, you don't shit, you hide the shoes.
You hide the shoes.
Yeah. You also never let them hold your hand in a way that they could see that yours is bigger as well.
Well, that one I can't hide, so I immediately start out with it. First day, I'm like, check it out. And they're like, oh.
Yeah. The guy hits on you in a bar and you're like, well, you don't go to bars, but if you did.
Right.
Yeah.
The hitting on
it's a Gen X
involves
thing.
me being like.
By the way,
yes,
your dick will look real small.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, 100%. I can understand that. I think at my age, it's like, listen, I come with a lot of baggage, a divorce, a kid, giant hands that'll make your dick look small, big feet, but I have a really large mouth.
Yeah, the biggest mouths we have.
Yeah, so if the occasional blowjob, you'll enjoy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, the forced blowjob. Yeah, the birthday blowjob will be fun.
And I think something's shifted where tall Amazonian blonde women are no longer the thing that everyone wants. They want these little brunette spinners, with the tattoos and the arms that look like our fingers.
I know.
And
European. Yeah,
they're all about it with the kind of saggy boob, but it's like the European boob.
The small sag.
No waist.
Yeah.
Perfect little butt that, the jeans go right up the crack.
Pedophilia.
Could be. You think that's where we're headed? I think more of it's like a rebound from the Kardashians or
I
Barbie.
would like to think that, but I think it's. I mean, the women that aren't little European girls look like cum babies. Like they have the.
Well, that's because they're getting the fillers.
I'm a baby.
They're getting the fillers done, and then they're getting the cheek injections, so it looks like a blow up doll.
Yeah.
Hello, a little tiny prepubescent blow up doll.
I mean, the thing is, I think it is. I think that, I was just looking at flowers today out in the field, and I was like, oh, when I'm old, I'll be able to enjoy those. When nobody is looking at me or cares about me, I'll be able to be like, the flowers are nice. And then I looked at them, and I was like, these are young flowers. That's why they're so pretty. And I looked over, and there were old dead ones, and I was like, those are ugly. And I was like, I'm going to think of that when I'm old.
You had this entire existential moment looking at a flower?
Yeah, with Sophia when we went for the walk.
Oh, please don't rub off on my child.
Too late. Too late.
Don't think about that. Listen, okay? I'm approaching 40.
Yeah.
It's over after that. So you always have a little window left to enjoy it and just enjoy it. And then soon, you won't.
Soon I'll be liberated from the binds of caring.
You won't care. Yeah. You really won't care. You'll every once in a while you'll think about caring. You'll be like, I'm going to look nice. And then you'll be like, fuck.
Yeah.
I'm over it. That's not, there's no reason. But Botox, highly recommend.
You really like it?
Yeah. I've only done it once, but I'm going to do it forever not because of the youthful appearance. It's so much every day. It's that photo that you see every once in a while where you're like, oh boy, I'm mom.
Yeah. Mom. I get that a lot.
100% worth shooting yourself in the forehead just to not have that moment where you realize that, it's a slippery
The amount of time,
downhill.
every video of me looks like either mom or a spitting image of dad. None of them look like
me.
No.
Oh, that sucks.
No, none of them.
Yeah.
Most of them look like dad, unfortunately.
That's the 5 head with the furrowing. Yeah. I don't know how you'd lift your eyebrows though. You'd have a hard time.
You can do it.
Am I emoting the way that you have to on stage? I'm angry. I'm surprised.
Where are the wrinkles?
I don't know. I don't know where they put them, but apparently they don't paralyze the eyebrow, but they paralyze the muscles above it.
Really?
I don't actually know if I'm lifting them though.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. I'm like, am I lifting them? Am I not? But a lot of people, they're getting the lip injected right here so that it flips up. So their lips like this all the time.
So they have the
They inject right here. So this muscle.
Julia Roberts.
Is it Julia Roberts?
Yeah.
That like that? Yeah. I mean, I suppose so. To me, I think of like
Keira Knightley.
Yeah, or like I just think of like the Netflix live reality shows where they they're always like licking their lips and they're all flipped up. Yeah. I mean,
but what gives people the duck mouth?
that's fillers.
Oh.
Fillers.
Why do people do that?
People in New York aren't shooting themselves with fillers. How do you not know
Yeah,
this?
they are.
Oh, yeah.
I just don't know why. What is somebody going for with that? What
Lips. Those people who have, those people that you look at and you're like, they're really pretty, but they have their lips like this.
Oh, interesting.
So they want to have like real lips.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
where you and I are probably worried about like duck face, the long, what is this called? Peritoneum? That's not
Shoo-shoo?
it. That's the one on your ass, I think. Whatever this thing is called. This thing right here.
Yeah, the shoo-shoo.
Yeah, but I
That's
think
a technical term.
I think there's a medical term for it.
Shoo-shoo.
And I don't think it's peritoneum.
Simpson's
or,
lip.
or taint, but it's like the taint of your face kind of thing, right? And that, we worry about that, but like people worry about their thin lips, and then they have like, they don't have cheekbones, so they want to fill those in. But everyone's getting the fillers out. They're out. They've been canceled.
Really?
They're all coming out. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The fillers come. How do you pull them out?
I only know this because I just had my consultation for the Botox. I didn't,
Oh, okay.
This is all new information for me.
How are they getting them out?
I don't know. That's a question for somebody who knows more about it.
They're
than
getting
me.
them sucked out. The Kardashians are undoing their things, I think.
Well, they have most fillers in their ass. I think that would be a big project.
Could you imagine? I think the ass fillers are hilarious. Just your pooper part, getting it blown up is so weird.
Yeah, people are working on it. I think the vaginoplasty is the one that I don't know if
that
I'd be
makes sense because
comfortable
it pleasures the dick. The butt
No,
is
the bigger the labia, the better the pleasure. Everyone's getting their labias all tucked up in there and removed. And anyone with the dick will tell you, like, it's more fun to have more surface area, more grabbage, And so all these people, they want to have that little,
the
tight
flat.
little.
I call it the IKEA.
It's where those, those girls on Instagram are spreading their legs wearing a bathing suit. I'm like, where the fuck is your
Where
vagina?
Is their vagina?
Where is
I
it?
mean, the underwear we talked about.
Yeah.
What's going on?
I
the
don't-
underwear that's this thin. Who is that for?
Also, these girls wearing thong bathing suits all the time, bending over. I'm like, why is your asshole
Where
not like
is
showing out?
your
out
asshole?
yeah, where's your asshole? What
Where's
are you
the gray
doing with your
part?
asshole?
Yeah, where are you putting
That
it?
like grayish
No, I
brown
totally
part?
agree. Where and how is it not going to in the labia? Like, how am I not seeing one of your labia folds
Exactly.
from the back?
Why don't you have a front wedgie?
Yes.
It doesn't make any sense to me. Something's happening.
I
They're
don't
getting,
know. It's almost like they're sewing their labias together or something.
Yeah, it's like FGM, female genital mutilation,
Yeah.
happening here in the United States.
What is it? But there's a comic who posts like photos of herself, very funny comic, and she has like an OnlyFans, and her vagina. I'm always zooming in, and I'm like, where are her parts? It just is a perfect little.
These are reasons people think you're a lesbian. Yeah.
Oh.
You zoom in on labias. People are gonna.
I gave it a zoom.
I mean, I did.
I got a zoom.
I'm just jealous, but at the same time, like, I think that the moose knuckle, which is like the grade up from camel toe, is sexy. I'm just like, hey, here's my vagina. You can see it.
Yeah.
It's like when you see a guy working out with
The dick skin.
Oh, the dick flapping, like at the gym when he's not wearing shorts and he's
I know.
wearing
I
just
stare at it way too much.
Oh, I
so.
can't stop though.
Yeah.
It's like
it's really bad.
you're like,
Yeah.
it's so great. It's like, do it again. And so
Yeah.
I mean, I assume it's the same thing with the camel knuckle, the moose knuckle. I think they like to see it.
I think they like to see it too, but we're reducing it. We're taking it away. All of our big parts. It's hard. Me and you are huge women. I mean, like if there was a woman on my podcast right now who's just like a normal lady, I mean, people always see me and they're like, I thought you were 12 feet tall. And I was like, that's because I'm sitting next to Ian.
Oh
And
yeah.
Ian is a normal
You hang out with
person.
a lot of small dudes.
Small dudes, huge women.
Yeah.
Megan, Brianna, all huge. But yeah, we know why.
They're all tall. We're
Right. They're tall, but it also is, I mean,
half Viking, so there's
you got more fortunate than me because you are more feminine than me. I really went full Hulk.
that is just a rebellion against mom. That was a training rebellion against mom where I was like, I'm gonna, be a little bit more feminine, but just to show that I could. But
Yeah.
it's, it's not. I'm not. I was like you. I was masculine. I played Division I ice hockey.
Yeah.
I wore a backwards cap and one earring in high school. Well, middle school. High school, I think, is when I cleaned up my act a little bit. I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. And then,
yeah, you were like your friends. I remember you were having a panic attack on prom.
Oh,
because your friends made you wear a pink dress, and then last minute, I remember you putting on a black dress.
I wore the pink sparkly dress. I
But-
wore it, but I taped 2 flasks to my legs to get through it.
Oh yeah, you did wear the Barbie dress, but remember
What
how
about-
you kept switching always to that one?
I was
black
like, I
dress you were
can't,
kinda-
I can't do this. I can't. This is so uncomfortable. Well, Mom used to, she used to denigrate us. Well, I don't know if so much you. You were kind of, you were just like, we were in survival mode. But when I was growing up, it
Yeah,
was,
mine was she'll kill herself if you say don't
yeah,
mention.
we don't. We just had to get through it.
Yeah.
But with when I was growing up, you don't wear dresses. What are you
Yeah.
going on a date? You don't wear a dress. Pussies wear dresses. You don't do that. You don't be feminine.
Yeah.
And I tried real hard to be gay. I was like, I want to be gay. I want to please.
Did you
my mom.
try?
I did. I'm not gay.
I know.
I'm not into it. But I tried.
Well, we're misogynists,
Misogynist.
unfortunately,
How can you?
because we've been trained by our mother that
Well, we're
women
like
are
misogynist feminists.
Yeah.
Which is like the worst kind. We hate women and men.
stupid. Right.
It's
I
rough.
mean, I think we think any femininity is bad. Like anybody like talking in a certain affectation or like flaunting any sort of
like this.
yeah, any sort of like any
okay?
sort of yeah, she's got allergies.
Okay.
Any sort of like
It's a pussy dog.
when people talk too close to us, when small girls try and befriend us, we get really repulsed, right? And as much as we hate men, we do respect them more. Like we want to make the men in the room laugh more than the women.
Yes.
And that's because we were raised by two men who are like, women are for fucking, and that's it. And if you want to be strong, you be like a man.
But I think also not only women are for fucking, but women don't have anything to add to the lifestyle that we grew up on, which was carpentry
Yeah.
and a farm. And, it was like, if you're not masculine, you have no life skills.
And femininity was insecurity. We would be humiliated for it. If there was makeup put on, it was like, what the fuck are you doing with your face? What is
Even
that
a
for?
sissy, you don't like your face?
Everything had to be
Something
utilitarian.
wrong with your face?
Yeah.
It's mind's eye parenting. Now that I'm a parent, we were raised to be like them. We weren't raised nurturing our own self and our own personality. It was, you're going to be like me because what I am is correct.
Right.
Narcissist.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, there's all this research now on children of narcissists. And, narcissist is such a bad connotation where everyone's like, oh, if you're a narcissist, you're a terrible person. No, we all have narcissistic tendencies. And unfortunately, when we are poor and struggling for survival, we're focused on surviving and not on what is the best way to mentor my children.
Right.
So
You can end up being a narcissistic parent just because you're trying to live your life and you don't have time for your children.
Yes.
That can also lead. Yeah.
Inadvertent neglect.
Inadvertent neglect.
Mm-hmm.
I had that.
Yeah, I know, because we're siblings.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, we grew up. Jamie used to beat the shit out of me. And, yeah, I used to tattle.
That's because you're a fucking sissy.
I was a sissy.
You guys,
You know, I'm still like such a sissy.
You're such a sissy.
I mean, the trainer the other day couldn't get me to hit her. And when she hit me, I'm such a pussy. And I overthink everything to the point. We live in Ithaca. We grew up in Ithaca. I've never jumped off one of the gorges.
Are you serious?
I've never jumped off one of the gorges.
You need to get punched square in the face and see that it's like not that bad. That's what needs to happen.
You don't have to.
No, I know. That's what you need. Like, that's what happens when you're a kid and you fall off your bike. You're all scared riding the bike. You fall off your bike and you go,
I've never broken a bone.
it's not that bad. They put you in a cast, you get better. It's not that bad. You get punched in the face. I've been punched in the face many times.
Yeah, you started a lot of fights.
Fights are fun. They're an adrenaline rush.
I
Especially when
know.
you
I
win.
start fights all the time with people, but I
Then
don't
you
get
run
hit.
at the end.
I don't start physical fights. I start like altercations on people's
Yeah,
behavior.
that's because you can mentally mind fuck them and
Yeah.
manipulate them, and that's your superpower.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden you're like, okay, I'm terrible, and you win. Like
Yeah.
you do it to me all the time, and
Yeah.
I'm like, I fucking give up.
Yeah.
Like I give up. You've made me. I now believe that I'm terrible.
And
right?
if somebody goes to hit me, which has happened, somebody being like, with me being like, what are you doing? You little dick fucking pussy. You're cutting me off. And then they'll start to get angry. Like this happened at an airport. And I go, you're going to punch me? Oh, yeah, let's punch her now. That's a smart idea. And they're like, it's not. That is not a good idea. That's what I do. That's the move.
See, I start with that. I walk into a confrontation, especially if it's with a woman, and I just make sure she understands that she's a good foot shorter than me.
Yeah.
And half a foot narrower than me. And I'm like, would you like to get into this? And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
You win, right? You don't even usually have to go there. But then once you meet, you're looking at someone eye to eye, you're like, fuck, we're going to have to throw down.
Yeah, my friend
That's
in New
gonna
York
happen.
saw me the other day, and he goes, "You had headphones in, and I was behind you on the subway platform," and he was like, "The way you walk, I would never approach you. Like, it is so scary." And he was like, "That's why nothing's happened in New York."
Oh, knock
Like,
on wood, yeah.
and
Every
it-
time I see somebody walking all weird, I think it's you.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not my
It's
sister.
really weird. It is a mimicking. I mean, we both just mimic mom as much as humanly possible. It's crazy.
Yeah, we walk like giant apes.
Yeah.
Like it's not.
It's very weird to have a mom who's a cult leader. I mean, we just recorded an episode with her, and the words that she's saying are so eloquent, so articulate, and the information that she knows, and watching her pull it from one side of the brain to the other without self-doubt is like, it is extraordinary. I mean, it's weird having a mom that you're like, she's 6 steps ahead of every single person, and when she isn't, she does mental gymnastics to make you think that she is.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
She could know nothing about something.
But I think it's been good for you and me because our entire life have been taught like to make fun of ourselves.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, and remember the saying that she used to say all the time?
What?
Use your resources and
Oh, yes.
initiative to figure it out.
Yeah.
You're like 2 years old and need food. And she's like, use your resources and initiative to figure it out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we benefited from that because she had to do that. And she's a survivor. And so she adapted by using her intelligence.
Right. And that's why I stole from Whole Foods up until a year ago.
But try to tell her she's wrong.
I know.
See how
I
that
know.
goes down.
I've tried a million times. It gets very scary.
It's not
Stuff
good.
gets broken.
Yeah, it's not good.
It's crazy. It's so crazy.
If she was rich, we would have been written out of the will so many times. You're written out of the will.
Yeah.
You're dead to me. But she's not. So
This is who she is. She goes like this. You're like, I'm not going to be able to make it. No. Oh, good. Got it. I'm an idiot. And you're like, why are you an idiot? And she's like, because I thought for a second you might honor what you had said to me, but that's on me. That's on me. I shouldn't have believed you. And just so you know, in the future, never going to happen again. Just so you know.
Yeah.
So you're off the hook for me ever trusting you. And you're like, okay.
Yep.
I've just, because of you, I've learned to just be like,
walk away.
Yeah.
Walk away.
So-
Don't engage. That's the whole thing about, she's talking all the time. She's constantly telling me, I'm reading about narcissists and, you can't engage. And I'm like, yep, sure. I'm glad you're reading about that because that's how I fucking deal with you.
She's reading about a different type of narcissist. The narcissists she's reading about are the people who are catastrophized, make everything about themselves. Like, it is a different thing. It's like, there's like, I don't know what that difference is, but there's a narcissist who's like, is everybody talking about me, looking at me, thinking about me?
I think it all comes from the root cause of your narcissism, right? So if your root cause is survival because you were abandoned or neglected, you have core issues that come from a wounded child, your narcissism really manifests in survival mode. And you are narcissistic in how you approach other people and how you approach situations. If your narcissism was bred in you and it was drilled home that you are somehow superior or you must be superior, you're trained to be it, you're taught that there's a subcategory of human that exists around you, it's a different type of narcissism. If you are constantly seeking power, it's very different than constantly seeking affirmation.
Yes.
But that still falls in these like narcissistic, egocentric tendencies that we see in people. And I think that's, I think there's so many times where I'm like, I was just a fucking narcissist.
Yeah.
Like bad, and I think, but a big part of that is because I had to fight my entire life
to not be in the
unconditional love.
Yeah.
And that's, how it comes out. But there's these people that you deal with where you're like, that's a fucking evil person. Like there's something evil in it. And I think, the far end of the spectrum is like narcissistic sociopaths, right? And those end up being like the serial killer type, like the John Wayne Gacy's.
I think it's unavoidable also to be like inherently you're going to have, if you have a kid, right? You're going to be like, this is the thing about that kid that I want to foster. Like with me, mom was always like, didn't it always feel like mom was like, I justify this child because of, like, I justify Jordan because she's very intelligent and philosophical, and I justify Jamie because she's really athletic and beautiful. Like, didn't it feel like that, where it was almost like it's good that I had you because you have these qualities, as opposed to like, whatever you do is great.
Well, so ideally you grow up nurtured with unconditional love.
Yeah.
And a big part, like the sleep training I did with Sophia, where you run to them until they're 4 months old is so that they early on feel that there's unconditional love. No matter what, you're there. Conditional love is, I love Jamie because
Dog party.
dog time. Because she's athletic. I love Jordan because she's funny.
Right.
That's conditional love. And that's what we got.
Yeah.
And that, and there's nothing, it's still love. Still great. A lot of people out there don't even have that. That's awesome. But conditional love teaches you that you are conditional.
Right. Which I only experienced the inverse of that when Michelle entered our life.
Unconditional love.
That became, when Mom started dating Michelle, I remember being like, oh, she's not even looking at the fact that I'm gothic, that I'm 900 pounds, that I have self-made cuts all over. She's just like, let's get fucking ice cream today. You're the best. And you're just like, why? And she's like, because you're a kid and I love you. And you're like,
yeah.
Oh, but I didn't even say anything.
And my immediate reaction, because I was older than you, was, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, totally.
Fuck is wrong? Something wrong with you.
Yeah.
You just like care about people. And
Crazy.
it's like, when I meet people that are just like genuinely sweet, I'm like, all right.
She'll
fuck
text
is
me
wrong
all
with
the
you?
time and just be like, I love you. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Shut up.
It's made our intimate lives with men very easy. Because, yeah.
Really easy. Smooth sailing.
Yeah, and in
Long-term
completely different ways.
relationships
Oh
that
yeah,
work.
oh yeah, totally. I always pick really good ones.
Yeah, really good ones.
Really good ones.
We do pick opposites, which is interesting.
That's because I'm an avoidant from being inadvertently
God, I wish
neglected, and
I
you're a
was an
love
avoidant.
addict.
You're so lucky.
Being an avoidant is the worst because you're actually not. Remember, it's two sides of a coin. You're an avoidant because all you want is unconditional love. But every time you're like, but nobody can give you the unconditional love that a parent can. Nobody can, but a parent. And maybe your sibling, right? Or your kid, but not a partner. They can't give you the love you're seeking. So I go, you can't give it to me. Bye. Get out of my fucking life. And instead of actually saying bye, get out of my life, I make them be terrible so that I feel good about them leaving. Or I pick somebody who I know is incapable of it because I feel safe.
Yeah.
I'm like, this feels comfortable. You're incapable of love.
But we do the same thing, but when you have a threat, you don't choose threats. I choose the most lethal person. So I choose the person that I know is going to leave, which you did one time and it fucked you up. And I always choose people who I'm 100% sure they will not stay with me. And you always choose people that you're 100% sure they will stay.
That's because you're chasing an avoidant.
Right. And you're chasing an attack. Are we both, are you chasing the
I'm not chasing. They're chasing me because they're love addicts. And I'm going, well, that feels good.
No, because you reject people that are scary.
I reject people that are scary because you're getting rejected unless you pursue the fuck out of me. Right. I rejected for like 6 months.
But why do you need them to pursue the fuck out of you? What does that have to do with childhood?
Because they have to show me that they love me unconditionally. If you are like, I love you, you love me.
I think you were worshipped before I was born.
Yeah, that's 100%.
I think you were worshipped because you were the first child and you were awesome. And they loved you, and then they abandoned you completely.
Yeah, they call me the trick baby. They tricked me, and they got tricked by me to have you.
Yeah.
You were a pain in the ass.
And I think with me, what I had to do to get love was be like, hey, I'm going to kill myself tonight. And they were like, we should focus on her for a second. So I think with me in relationships is I'm like fighting for the, I think that I have to get to a certain place to get affection. Whereas you think that people, if they are pulling away a little bit, it's a full abandonment.
I have to think that I'm perfect to think that anyone's going to love me. I have a not good enough complex. Oh. So I have a core belief that I'm not good enough because I don't have A, B, C, or D. And even if I achieve A, B, C, or D, I want E, F,
Right.
G.
So if I'm a scary man, and when I say scary, I just mean like comparable to you,
Yeah, but
in
like
your league.
scary.
Just in your league.
Oh, well, no, I'm not good enough for that.
Because you're not good enough. And and you know that they're not going to possibly give you the affirmation that you need in order to convince you. Whereas I'm like, I know that somebody who's showing me love isn't good enough because that affirmation isn't real. I need somebody who doesn't show me love because their affirmation is real.
Need consistent worshiping and then like go away when I want you gone. Like I actually just need like a slave. That would make me happy. That would make me comfortable.
But then we find out, interestingly enough, you get into a marriage with a slave. I mean, pretty much.
Clearly he wasn't.
Yeah, but you thought, this is interesting, you thought that he was going to be a puppy. You thought that, not a puppy, but you thought he was going to be loyal. You were like, he's not very intellectual, but he's loyal, and he worships me. He fought for the love. He's agreeing to the
It's a
things.
giant buck.
A buck?
Sorry, a big buck.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like multiple points. Sorry.
And then,
Chairs are too small.
and then, you know, we find out that he was cheating on you with big fat whores. A lot of them.
A lot. A whole army of them. I think that I thought was the safe choice.
Yeah.
And I think that was timing, right?
I don't know if we can say names.
Oh, sorry.
Harry. Sorry.
What's a good name?
Satan.
Satan.
That's what
Ex-husband.
X.
Ex. I think I thought my ex was the safe choice because I was getting around that time where the biological clock was ticking a little bit. I didn't want kids, but I wanted kids. You know, that you probably are at that age a little bit where you're like, you got the pull, but you're like, my life's not ready. I don't know. And I was like, I really need to land with somebody who's stable. And there was financial security. There was stability, came from a solid, good family, which I thought was good, meaning that mom and dad were together, everyone hung out, core family. And so I thought it was the safe choice. And I thought because he was intellectually inferior to me that I would be able to control the narrative of my future a little bit.
Yeah.
And he would be the safety net, right? So if I wanted to go down this path, he wouldn't be able to keep up with me. I could go on and come back home. It's safe, right? And it felt secure. And he came across as the most loyal, honest person, because how can someone that dumb not be loyal and honest?
Right.
Like a puppy, right? Like
Right.
They're loyal and honest.
And there was a part of you is like, he's not going to go out and fuck. Who's going to fuck him?
Well, I didn't think that he would go as low as he did, because clearly, like, they fucked up. Like the prostitutes that he went for, and and the whole thing with prostitutes is another whole thing where I always imagined, and maybe it's because
So interesting.
I was sheltered, but I always imagined prostitutes being like, you get into prostitution and you do high-end prostitution because you're going to make a lot of money, like escort. And then I thought about like prostitutes, like streetwalkers, where they want drugs, right? And I never thought there was like a middle level.
Let me get a seltzer. The question is, are those prostitutes that he found at casinos, are they prostitutes, or were they just like is that their job? Because we all saw Pretty Woman. We all thought it was Pretty Woman. We all thought it was a skinny girl who might be addicted to some drugs.
Well, and like gets ready like when you work in the restaurant business, right? Like she like zipped up her boot.
Yes.
She went to her job, like a sex worker is how I always imagined them. No,
these women put on
apparently
Uggs.
A prostitute's like, this type of prostitute is like a coke party whore who's like, take me out, like buy me chicken nuggets and a beer. And then let's get takeout, what are those things called? Calzones. And then I'll let you eat me out and I'll suck your dick.
Buy me Coke.
And you just like leave me 100 on the table. I mean, when I first started dating, I thought the weirdest thing, and I never thought of as a red flag because I didn't know, was he would leave for work in the morning.
Sorry, bleep it again.
And he would leave for work in the morning and he'd put cash on the nightstand. And he'd be like, just in case you need some cash today. And I was like, it was early on in the relationship. I was like, I don't need cash. Like, it was fucking weird. Like, it was habitual for him. He was used to.
He would leave cash on
the whole fucking marriage. And then it got to the point where it became like, he's giving me cash to buy groceries, right? Like, it's not a big deal.
Oh, he's paying you off.
He was like.
He must have been kind of being like,
well, let's not forget, his income was a lot higher than mine and always was. So
right, but he's also probably like, I'm fucking whores, so take this, in his mind.
Which is also why he acquiesced to anything I would say. I'd be like, this is the house we should buy. This is how we should raise our kid. This is the sleep training we're doing. He'd be like, sure. You have this life. I have this life. So, I mean,
that life is so dark, though. The casinos. And I saw one of those girls. I mean, not one of the actual girls, but I saw one. And I said to the guys I was with, I was like, dude, that's a prostitute. And I checked her out, and she was, alone and was really trashy and was like, it was gross. And I kind of understood what was going on, is that she came into the casino. She's going to play a little bit. She's going to find a gross guy.
For drugs.
Yeah, it's like, And it's, it's like the most, hang with one of her buddies in hopes that cocaine turns up in exchange for sex. And it's weird because it's like, I almost understood how that creature was a fixture in the casino. Like, it was almost like casino life was to, like, you throw all this money away, you get pissed off about it, you do drugs, and you fuck somebody, and then you conceal that off and go home. You know what I mean? Like, it almost was like, I get how this isn't cheating and how it's just part of the
Because you're in
gambling.
a vacuum.
Yeah.
You're in a vacuum.
Yeah.
And I think that's what, when I have, been able to conversate with him and said, like, we're signing divorce papers here. Like, what'd you think was going to happen? He's like, I didn't think. It was in a whole separate world for him. He had to, and this is how people cheat like this. This is how you end up with, it's how sex addicts cheat, is that they start compartmentalizing.
Right.
They completely disassociate their emotions and they live two separate lives.
I don't know what that feels like. Does it feel like how when I binge eat sugar? Like, it's just like, I'm doing this thing. I know that it's bad, but I'm doing it.
Have you ever watched a movie or read a book and all of a sudden, and then like dreamt about it and been like in the character's body?
Yeah.
Like, you're not yourself.
Oh,
you're
an avatar.
You're an avatar. You're expressing a certain piece of yourself. Like, it's not really you, is how I assume. I'm the most like heart on your sleeve, authentic, blunt, sometimes, to my fault person. So it's really hard for me to grasp. And you know what I've learned is that people who do these kind of things, who are able to compartmentalize in this way, choose people as partners who are like that, who are very honest and straightforward, because they will never see it coming. Because you can't imagine it. And because you can't imagine it, that makes you a person who's incapable of doing that type of deception and betrayal. I would, if I had cheated on my ex-husband or any partner I've ever had with somebody that I like was into, like cared for, and maybe was doing really nice things for me, the guilt.
Oh yeah.
Would weigh. I wouldn't be able to breathe. It would crush my chest.
One of my friends who I'm very close with, both of them, you know them, but my best friend and her ex, he cheated on her and stormed through the door and went like this. I know, it's insane.
That's stupid.
Stormed through the door and went, I just did this thing. Yeah. And I was like, that's how I would be. Like, it would be like, I can't get it out fast enough. And even when somebody hits on me, there's a part of me that's like,
oh, I used to, I tell people, I'm like, I was want to let you know this happened today. Yeah. I feel guilty about it. Like, maybe I did something.
Why is that? That's because it's because we feel alienated from them if they don't know what's going on. It feels like we're creating a separate reality that they're not a part of, which is scary.
It's because in all of the bullshit that we grew up in, and everybody grows up in a dysfunctional family, everybody has bullshit. In all of our bullshit, there's one thing that was very, very stable, and that was authenticity.
Yeah.
Our parents were very honest with us.
No lying allowed.
No, they were like, even when it's like they're
fat.
putting you in the middle of a divorce,
or
they're calling you fat, they were very honest. They were honest. The birds and the bees talk was like not a birds and the bees talk.
And remember the lying thing? If you remember the thing that Mom
people
always
who
said?
lie live terrible, horrible lives.
It was that, wasn't it?
Yes.
People who lie live horrible, terrible lives.
Die alone.
Yeah.
And die alone. It was drilled into us, but I think that was a core moral value, a core belief that we formed early on.
We had a painting on the wall of the women that meant tell the truth.
Tell
like
the
it
truth.
was a symbol. Yeah.
Tell the truth. And our parents would tell the truth even when it hurt them. And they were brutally honest.
But they also cheated on each other. And you know what I was thinking about? When Mom cheated on Dad and left him, there was like a fall of Dad, right? Like, he was like this hot, strong, powerful cowboy. And then she cheated on him and left him. And
then he put that guy's head through a jukebox.
And poured paint on Dinkum's car.
Oh, you're not supposed to say names. He's probably dead anyways. It's fine.
I don't think he is. I think he's fit, and I think Mom was in love with him. And
big time.
Yeah.
Mom is not gay.
I know.
Mom is not gay.
She's not gay.
She's not gay. She's anybody who invigorates her mind.
Yeah.
She will.
Anytime I'm with women who are hitting on me the way I'm like, oh my God, this is exactly what happened to mom. Where there at least 2 women I get off stage. I just did a whole set about how I'm not gay, and they're like, "You're not gay. I'll make you gay." And they're coming at me, and obviously it's panicking me because I hate physical contact and being too close.
Yeah.
But I was like, "Oh yeah, this is like wearing on me to a point that like when women are looking up at me, but I'll be your. I'm like, this might be easier than me trying to a man. Like I could just have the person where I'm the shoulder and their head is on my chest. Would that be easier than me trying to constantly find this chest to lay on? And I think for mom it was, because just all of these men she was just like, you are bovine.
Yeah, because sexuality is shades of gray. And so, she can be attracted to women and is attracted to women, but she tended to skew that way because it was a lot easier for her, because as you and I know, it's really hard for men not to feel emasculated by us. And it's a pain in the dick to have a relationship with them because they're constantly pissing and moaning about their dicks being shorter than ours.
Yeah.
And it's annoying. It's really fucking annoying. And it's like, why can't you just swing your dick over there and I'll swing mine over here and we'll have a great life together and everything will be fine? But no, men have this subconscious complex where they're like, I have to be the dominant role in the relationship. And you cannot be who mom is and be in that dynamic. And the only reason she lasts as long with dad.
They feel like they're gay. Like sometimes I'm with men and I'll do whatever masculine thing I'm doing. Not even masculine, just powerful thing. And there's a feeling that they're like, what are you, a fucking man? You can't be a man because I'm not gay. There's that feeling. Like, why are you acting like a dude? I'm not gay, so act like a woman. And I'm like, bro, I got a vagina. You're not gay. You're all right. You know what I mean? Like, that's a big part of it.
That's still a thing in your generation. Nobody cares if they're gay anymore.
No, it is a thing. I mean,
it's not gay. It's that what am I? I'm not. How do I go back to my man crew? Right? And show off, especially when you're with a beautiful masculine woman, right? It's like, look at this dime piece I have. Oh yeah, she does fart and swear and can do construction, and she's masculine and powerful. And then it's like, how are you going to go back and do your little pahuka dance of I'm a strong man and blah, blah, blah. And oh, look at that little dime piece I have. You can't do it. You can't play it anymore. Now they know you, right? So then you get emasculated around your friends. You get emasculated in your relationship. You and I don't suffer no fools. We're not going to do the whole like damsel in distress act. Like we'll pick ourselves up.
Cheat on you with whores.
Or little fucking brunette tiny spinners,
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've been cheated on with little tiny fucking brunette spinners.
Me too.
And giant, short, scary looking, multicolored prostitutes.
It's typically the brunette spinners that are the emotional affair. I've never seen the prostitute thing. I mean, okay, so what happened was you get a phone call in the middle of the day.
Yeah, it was 5:00. Yeah, I just got back from buying Sophia her first hockey. Oh, shit. I just gotten back from buying hockey equipment for my daughter.
And everybody knows Sophia's name. I talk about her constantly.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. And she's not going to sue you. And then you get a text or a call.
Well, first I had posted a listing and I had some weird messages on my Facebook post of my listing. Like I shared my listing. It was like, check it out. It's a cute little house in Dryden. And, girl, we need to talk. And I'm like, I don't know who the fuck this person is. And
a comment?
Yeah, comment and then a couple messages. And I was focused on my kid. I had clocked out for the day. I was like, oh, if that somebody wants to buy a house, I'll deal with it tomorrow. Right? Yeah. Just hit the market. I'm in no rush.
Yeah.
I have a review date, right? When we're looking at offers. And then I got a text, but I didn't notice it till I got back. And it said, is this my name, so-and-so's wife? And, I was like, what? And then the phone rang. And, I settled Sophia into the den and put a movie on and answered the phone. And, they proceeded to tell me stories about what had happened in their experience with my ex-husband when I thought he was away at dealing with our nephew had to have an open heart surgery. And he wasn't focused on that. He was spending every night he was there with these two very young, 21 and 22 women.
21, 22.
Yeah. And one of them, they wanted money because one of them was about to have a baby. And they had reached out to him and, asked for money for abortion. And
is the baby
he
real?
Blocked him. I've seen pictures.
Does it look like him?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah.
It's got the nose
and the cheeks. That like those. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. It was. I mean, they kept after it. The problem was.
What ended up?
The problem was that they blackmailed me, and I was like, I don't know why I'd pay you. Like, unless you're sending, like, why would I pay you? And they're like, so we don't file paternity. I'm like, it doesn't matter. I get first dibs, right? Like, your kid's about to be born. My kid's 4. I don't know why I would pay you. And they're like, well, we can't get a hold of he's blocked us. And I was like, well, yeah, we're going to post the videos. I'm like, go right ahead.
Yeah.
Like, I don't give a, clearly this guy's an asshole or you're lying, right?
Right,
either way, I don't care. And, but he ended up paying them. So they kept after it. So they kept, reaching out and telling me things that were going down. And
why did they tell you even though he paid them?
He hadn't paid them yet. He hadn't paid them. He had ignored them and blocked them. So they were telling me, they found my number because it's everywhere, because I'm a real estate agent.
And you said, man,
mm-hmm.
you got to pay these bitches.
No. I called him and I said, why are there 2 women calling me from Rochester who say that on February 2nd and 3rd and 4th, you were with them and they know your nephew's name and they sent me a picture of you at a bar. And, he said, I don't know what you're talking about. No, it's not true.
And how'd you get the truth out of him?
I called them back.
Yeah.
And they said, we'll FaceTime you. And they FaceTimed me on one phone and showed me the video on the other. And they slowed it down so that I could see that 1, he was naked, and 2, it was him, and 3, what he was doing.
Which was cunnilingus.
He was face diving into a giant, I'm so sorry.
Into a big fat pussy.
Yeah, naked with his ass in the air.
It
was just awful. And then there's this whole thing before where they're like flirting. And he's like flirting with like a Newport smoking, trailer park.
Yeah.
Nasty woman and some other woman's videotaping.
It was so weird.
And he's like talking to him like he's one of them. And this is like a country club member. This is like, makes way more than 6 figures. He makes the higher end, like makes a lot of money, right? And we live in the suburbs with the whole thing, the dog and the fence and the kid, and goes to the best school and all that. And he's snorting cocaine off of prostitutes and saying...
Off of slap hog pigs.
Big, yeah, with the big eyelashes.
The big fake eyelashes. They looked like when people put PT Cruiser eyelashes on. I mean, and they had the top bun.
The top bun. They're wearing hoodies. Oh. They're tricking wearing hoodies.
They might as well, and I'm going to say this and you will know what I'm saying, they might as well have been wearing Cookie Monster PJs.
Yes.
They were like that.
It was.
Like flip-flops.
In winter.
Winter.
Yeah.
And... then you sent me all the videos to splice them together. Remember that?
Well, I didn't send you the videos. Mom did. Yeah, I couldn't watch it again.
Wait, so then you go.
So I see the video. I call him back. And I go, and you know where he was when I called him?
Where?
At a casino, snorting cocaine, probably fucking prostitutes. Yeah, like I'm like, of course he's there. He's supposed to go to an Adam Sandler show at Turning Stone, but he's, annihilated, doing his usual thing. And I had no idea that cocaine was where, I knew that sometimes he partied and, who doesn't, right?
Yeah.
But I had no idea it had such a huge hold on him. But
we had that trip at the cabin where he kept trying to get me to do coke. And I was like, no, I'm not.
He was trying to get me to do coke. I'm like, no, my daughter's upstairs.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it and you're not doing it.
And he just kept being like, don't tell your sister. Don't tell your sister. And I was like, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
And he kept doing it, hiding in the like broom closet. And
well, apparently, he was hiding everywhere. We go out to dinner with friends and he's apparently doing it in the bathroom. And, it got to the point where I think he had to do it to balance out the alcohol. And he was just,
oh yeah,
one thing was feeding the other. He was clearly in a bad headspace, but I think he was in the bad headspace because he had been living a second life the whole time we were together. And that will get you in a bad headspace. You get to the point where now, not only do you have a baby, but you have a kid who's looking up at you and talking to you and engaging with you and is treating you like you're a good person.
Oh, yeah.
And you're controlling. And I'm sure that it was just, that's where the drugs came in and it was just shit spiraling him. But I called him back and I said, I know. I don't know what you're talking about. I still did not. I'm like, I watched a video. It's not me. It's you. I'm sorry. Bleep
That's
it out.
Maybe we can leave his name in.
No, bleep it out. Ex-husband, it's you, right? And then he said, of course I did it. You never fuck me. And I was like,
how did he pivot? What did the pivot sound like?
Anger.
Really?
Like he was angry that he got found out.
It was like,
know?
I don't know what you're talking about. That didn't happen. I don't know what to tell you, Jamie. That didn't happen. Then he was like,
this is crazy. They're lying.
And then it was.
I was like, he could tell that I knew.
Within the same.
I said,
call.
like, this is what I've seen with my own eyes. They know all this information. You need to own up. And then he was like, yeah, but of course I did it. Like, who wouldn't? And the reason I wasn't sleeping with him as much as he wanted to is because there was something gross going on. I was like, I'm telling my therapist about it. I'm like, my girlfriend's about it. I'm like, it's like I look at him and I think he's attractive and I love him, but I'm like, what the fuck is that grimy? There's something grimy. There's something icky going on. And the way he would touch me and engage with me intimately, it was not intimacy. It was like I was a paid for, like, you live in this house.
Oh.
You eat this food. You owe me this.
Yeah, I remember you at one point wearing hockey pads in your house, and I remember you weren't working very much, and I remember you breaking down crying, and you were like, I don't want to rely on him, and what had happened was we were joking about you not fucking him. We were making jokes about it, and then all of a sudden you burst into tears, and
I was like getting ready to go play.
Yeah, and you were like, I don't want to rely on him. And then you were kind of in your head, you could tell that you were being like what you thought was going on. It seemed like, because you were like, I don't want to have sex with him until I get my life together.
Yes.
But I think what was really going on is you were like, I feel pressured to have sex with him, which is probably triggering the assault that happened to you when you were young. Like this whole feeling of indebtedness and stuff like that, where it's like, I have to do this, and there's nothing scarier
to survive.
than that. To survive, yeah.
To survive.
And that is, yeah, totally. Yeah. And now it's like clear that, because you could tell when you were upset that you were like, I want to make my own money. I don't want to rely on him. And I remember me and Mom being like, he's your husband. It's okay. Like, to rely on him, like, you'll be okay. But there was a severity in you that was almost like, I need to, like.
It was a panic attack all the time.
Yeah.
And then I was being gaslit too. So I was making up stories as to why my life was being why he was deteriorating so rapidly. Because he would make it all about me. I was terrible. So that, was a big part in it, that was the one thing that came good from that phone call that day, was that I got relief of like,
did you
that's
feel that?
the thing. That is the elephant that's been sitting in the room that I have not been able to find with my eyes. Like, but it's been huge and big and weighing on me, and I've not been able to figure out what it was. And I was, because I suffer from not good enough, making it completely about myself. I don't make enough money. I don't earn enough. I'm not pulling my weight.
You're not nice enough.
Not
there was that too.
Nice enough. Yeah. I'm not sexy enough. At that point, I was training a lot. He had told me I was getting too muscular. I was like, I don't have the physique he wants. It turns out I don't have the physique he wants.
Yeah.
But
thank God.
And never will.
Yeah.
Thank God. Yeah. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Right. But I was making that up, and then and then it got to the point where I was like, oh no, I can't. I remember when I was pregnant, I called Mom. He was in Vegas, and I don't remember what triggered it, but I just knew bad things were going down. And I was like, I'm leaving. I have to leave. I'm not raising this child with a drunk.
Well, he was gone. Weren't you close to labor time or something?
Oh, that was later.
That was a different time?
He went to Atlantic City against doctor's orders. One of the times he's admitted to having a prostitute, that he says, oh yeah, that's the first time, even though he previously admitted it was many times before, was when I was recovering from my C-section and couldn't sit out of bed by myself. He left to go to Atlantic City because he had to use credits or he would lose them. I'm calling his sister crying. I'm like, this is ridiculous. And he's fucking prostitutes. And he was jonesing because, I was on medical leave from supplying his needs because I had his baby. So he had to go do that. But when you look back after you find out suddenly, which they call Discovery Day, you have this one moment where you go, oh, like everything makes sense. All these moments where I was confused and felt not myself and didn't know what was happening and believed it was about me because that's what we do.
The other thing is the 9 years or whatever you're with him.
8.
Mm-hmm. You were incredibly on edge. I mean, the difference in how you were, I mean, I know a lot of it has to do with metas and stuff, but like you would lose your shit so quick around him. And as soon as it was over, that it didn't happen at all. Even when you were going through the divorce or through the nightmare, you were totally yourself. Like you were like back down to level. Even though you were, emaciated, terrified, devastated, you were like you again. But whenever, and me and Mom would talk about it, like he would leave and you'd be like, okay, so what's up, guys? And we'd be like, where the fuck have you been all this time? You were just a huge asshole. And when he was around, it would get this really, really rigid thing. And I think that, it was like a lot of it was like, there's a fucking thing.
Do you know what narcissists do?
What?
So when you're in a relationship with a narcissist, especially a covert narcissist, someone like this who's living a double life that clearly doesn't give a shit about anybody or their own fucking word or commitment to you, right? What they do is they slowly isolate you from the people that care about you. They say little tiny things to chip away at those relationships. They isolate you. They make your life about them. And this happens to people who are love addicts, givers. It happens to people like who like me, where I just wanted
a family.
Financial security was a big one. I mean, that's how he had a huge hold on me, is that I grew up with no financial security. I didn't have good financial security. I had lost my job in a terrible way right before I met him. And they chip away to the point where then you are feeling like the problem, this big problem in your life, is about what they say it's about. But they never come out and say it. They plant little goddamn seeds where you're like, you're putting it together. You think you're putting it together, that you're the problem. My sister's the problem. Mom's the problem. My job's the problem. Everything else is the problem. But this one person who's always loyal and honest and there for me and supports me, when really, when you look and if you take a step back and go, they're not supporting me at all. Never around. Left me when I was about to deliver. Left me when I was recovering from my C-section, right? They're just not around.
Oh, so then the only person you had to rely on, and I do remember you saying this, I do remember you yelling at me and Mom at one point. I remember you being like, because we also didn't like him, which is hard. But, I mean, he's a deity. I mean, my God, he ran amazing on the grill. But being stuck in a room with him, you all of a sudden were like, no, please, another person has to be in here, please. But I do remember there being a feeling of like, you guys are not my family. I've created a family with him and his family. And you're saying that was like a slow.
Yeah. This belief that the way that their family operated was the way a family should operate. The way
and you had your house was always clean. I mean, I remember coming home recently and you had paints everywhere and it felt like it was like a home. Like it felt like it was like this wonderful place for a kid to play, and you were cooking something and it was really nice, and I was like, why does this feel so different? And I was like, oh yeah, because it was always immaculate.
If the house wasn't immaculate, he wouldn't come home.
Really?
Oh yeah, and he'd make it all about me.
What would he say?
He would be like, I'd be like, what is going on? Why were you out till 5 a.m.? The house is just, I can't relax here. I feel awful here. It's not like my house. I feel completely uncomfortable. You haven't worked all day. And you don't, it should be clean. I'm like, it is clean.
Yeah. We don't know what clean.
I have a kid who's painting on the counter.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen, right? Like, no, it needs to be cleaned up right after. I'm like, the paints are drying. It's going to sit there for a minute. Well, it needs to have a spot. We need to make a spot for it, or I can't think. And I work hard and come home and I need to be able to relax. And, and then you're like, okay. I get it. Like, I'm so sorry.
It's so weird because I can't imagine you ever being like, okay. I imagine you being like, why don't you go fuck yourself, you prick? You know what I mean?
Because it's a slow burn.
It's a slow burn.
The analogy is a frog boiling in water. So if you throw a frog in boiling hot water, it jumps out like it's hot.
Yeah.
But when you put it in cold water on a boil and slowly turn up the heat, it doesn't notice that it's boiling and it dies in the boiling water. That is what it's like to live with a narcissist. That is what it's like to live with a sex addict. That is what it's like. It's so slow and so progressive that by the end, when you usually have your discovery day or finally go, what the fuck is going on here? I'm out. You are boiling, full on boiling. And you guys saw me for a while boiling. It wasn't like that. Remember when I lived at the other house. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't that bad. It got progressively worse. And you're spending 90% of your energy going, what's different? What's happening? Must be me. It must be me. Especially if you have not good enough complex. I'm just not good enough. I'm not the wife he wanted. I'm not the person he wanted to raise his child. I'm not good enough. I'll just be better. I'll just be cleaner. I will just get in better shape. I'll work harder. I'll earn more money. That'll fix it.
Oh, you really at some point felt like you were fighting for his affection, even though he was a deity. Because he started this whole cheating thing and was gone all the time, right?
Yeah.
Because it was focused on you. You were the prostitute to begin with, right? You were the person that he was like, this is where my sexual energy is going. And then you became the wife. And then as he started finding the other outlet, he turned away from you. And that made you slowly frog boil. Because you were slowly being like, oh my God, my family is falling apart. He doesn't like me as much as he did in the beginning.
Well, I don't think I was so much trying to get his love and affirmation and trying to earn his respect as much as I was trying to be perfect. So to me, it was like, I'm not going to let this fail. My parents failed at marriage.
Yeah,
I'm not doing that to Sophia. Once I had Sophia, it was like, no, we're being perfect.
Oh.
That's what I was trying to achieve. He could be anybody. I didn't give a fuck. Like I was just going to be perfect. So for me, I stayed in it. That's all about me. That's all on me. I should have left so many times. And I kept thinking like, I can't, there's not much better out there. I live in a small town, but there was a guy who did, hit on me pretty aggressively that I was like, I would love to like just go on a date with this guy and just see what it, and I remember thinking, oh my God, I'm a terrible person.
Wow.
Terrible person, cause I should be as loyal as he is.
Oh.
Right?
Wow.
It turns out, if you like, the lesson is like, if you feel like something is wrong, something is wrong. Trust your gut because something is wrong. Life is hard. It's a battle. It's a huge amount of it surviving, but in your relationship, there's going to be fights, there's going to be ups, there's going to be downs. But if something is like making your stomach uneasy, if something's like there's something there to that, and you need to immediately get into couples therapy and figure out what it is, because we tend to, especially as women, we tend to say, it's me, right?
Yeah.
And men will go right along with that. Yeah, it's you, right?
So at Meadows, which is a recovery thing that was...
So Meadows is like a recovery center for multiple different things. I went to the Rio Retreat Center, which is specifically for trauma.
And when you got out of that, was a bunch of people experiencing the same thing about their relationship? Were they like, I knew, or were a lot of them like, I never saw it coming, or were they like, there was something?
Were a lot of people. So I did both S-Anon, which is like close relationship of sex addicts, and Meadows. And S-Anon was like a bigger group of people. There's like 140, 200 people in it, right? Depending on the day. Whereas Meadows is a much smaller group. 5 people were in my specific treatment. And I did it twice. Each workshop is 5 people. So we have very different stories, those 5 people. But like, was the experience that something is wrong here when they were being betrayed? Yes.
Really?
When you're being betrayed. And we had people who had been betrayed. When I went to betrayal bonds, which you're dealing with betrayal from intimate partners or intimate relations. So there was one girl who was betrayed by her dad. In the intimate relations, when you're with a partner, there is a notion of, I'm not good enough. Something's wrong. I'm not good enough. That is very common.
Yeah. And
I think that people who are cheaters, who are betrayers, who are sex addicts really look for that piece in the subconsciously, probably in the partner. Yes, there was one girl who had more of a story like mine, where she actually walked in on her partner in bed with a man, her male partner in bed with a man, and then subsequently found out there was multiple partners, potential STDs, a lot like mine, and she was actually still with the person. And I remember being like, I don't want to like...
It's easier to be with them if they're half gay, because then they could just be like, well,
this was... full on would fuck anything that he could.
Oh, not just men.
It didn't matter the sex.
Oh, okay.
He was a sex addict, like bad.
And he admitted to it?
No.
Oh, okay.
I mean, they do whatever they can to keep you.
Yeah.
But then once they have you, they don't. I mean, and I knew day one, you're going to say all the things. It's all going to come spewing out of your mouth. You're not going to mean a goddamn word of it. You're not going to change.
Yeah.
People don't change.
So, well, you changed at Meadows.
I didn't change. I found myself again.
Yeah. So you think, so, is she still with that guy?
No.
Really?
Right after Meadows, she left him.
Because it helped her leave him?
Yeah, he didn't keep his commitments of what he needed to do for treatment. Which, let's say that my ex-husband had come to me right after and been like, let's say he came to me and I didn't get the call. And he's like, I've been living a double life. I'm going to Meadows. I'm going to treatment. I'm going wherever. That's a different story.
Yeah.
They come out, like, okay, maybe you can change with that kind of power and transformation, not just what you went to get it, but that you chose it. Maybe they can change. But people aren't going to change just because they want to keep you. They're going to change because they want to change. That's the only way someone's going to change. Then maybe that would have been a different conversation, but that's not what happened.
So then at Meadows, at the, what are you supposed to be learning about being close to the sex addict? They're teaching you how to understand it?
No, they're purely teaching you how to focus on your recovery from the trauma and to look at the core issues that led you to choose that type of partner.
Okay.
And to help you sort of define what the future looks like for you. So there's no, judgment if you're staying with them. It's just all about, what is the history of trauma in your life. We unpack it and we look at it. We give you the right tools to deal with it and the right, the ability to choose how you want your life to look. So you can't design what your life's going to look like, but you can choose, I'm going to remove myself from toxic situations. I'm not going to be in, this is not for me. I'm going to step away. I'm going to set really healthy boundaries. So let's say, like, I immediately set healthy boundaries with Mom when I got back.
Yeah.
Where I was like, I'm not going to go there with you.
Yeah.
Like the other day when she wanted to badmouth someone, I was like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that to please you. I'm not going to sit here while you do it. This is a boundary for me. And most importantly, inner boundaries, where you can say all those terrible things about me.
Yeah.
But they're not going to land with me. I'm not going to, maybe I'll hold them out here and look at them so I can carry on a conversation with you, but they're not going to be internalized.
And you were cheated on.
Every single person I've ever been with.
Not Tim.
Oh, that's right. He's a good boy.
He's a good boy.
He was a good boy.
He was my favorite.
I know. He was a good boy, but he bored me. Why?
Cody?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he cheated on me with models in L.A. Bastard.
Wow. So you do choose, and you didn't like Tim. I liked him.
I liked him. I thought he was boring. Yeah. Why? Because there wasn't any toxicity. There wasn't any volatility. There wasn't any what I would call passion, right? But it was just because he was a straightforward goddamn human. And he played video games. It's a deal breaker.
He did play video games.
It's a deal breaker.
Why is that light flashing?
I don't know. How long do we do this for? My arm's tired. I have to move again.
We can continue this on another one.
People don't want to listen to this.
You don't think?
No.
Why not?
They would want to hear it more like a narrative, like a story. They wouldn't want to hear it just like piecemeal like this. They're going to be like, what? And then what? And they're not getting the whole story.
They got the whole story.
They don't know the whole story.
Why not? He went to a casino, fucked a bunch of fat whores.
No, he didn't go to a casino. He was in a hotel that he booked to help his sister take care of her son. And he went out and went on all the apps. I mean, like $30,000 was spent in our marriage on Adult Friend Finder.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like he was seeking it all the time.
Adult Friend Finder is the scariest name I could ever hear for anything. Adult Friend Finder?
Am I saying it right?
I don't know.
Well, it comes up on the billing statements like HWT 1032 over and over and over and over again. And I didn't know about him because he had his own credit
cards.
Were
actual prostitutes, like worked for an app. Like we're on an app.
The reason they shot the video was to put on their OnlyFans site. Wow. Yeah. And he agreed to it.
Wow.
Yeah. Apparently. He says, I don't remember, but we all know. I mean, he looks at the camera, so.
Okay, now it's now my camera's off. So
Is it battery?
talking to that camera, say, give people advice for if they get brutally betrayed or cheated on. Yeah. How have you recovered? I want you to tell them what the big takeaway that you got from recovery was that made you less of a cunt. Because you were a bitch. She was a bitch. She would beat me up. And she was an asshole.
That has nothing to do with betrayal.
She was an asshole.
Listen, first of all, I was a 8-year-old raising a child.
No, since like a few years ago.
I was a
few years. She's a mean lady.
I have veins in my teeth. The number one thing that stopped me from being such a cunt was having a kid. Like, there is something about creating another human where you're like, shit, I gotta be a good person.
Still cunty with the kid. It was after Meadows.
Yeah.
Remember? Because you'd be like, you don't want to see Sophia today, do you? You know, oh, sure, she's gonna be disappointed. You were passive aggressive. And then you got after Meadows, and then you became like a whole person.
I think,
like, you didn't care what other people did. Like, you're like, anybody can do what they want to do, and I'm living my life.
I think that when you are racing through life, which I think a lot of us do, right? We're constantly trying to achieve the next thing. We're trying to get to that goal, whether it is that you want kids and a marriage and a house, or you want the perfect career, you want to make X amount of dollars. We're just like pushing it away. And I had built it. I had gotten there. I had done all the things I wanted to do. I was building a wonderful new career for myself that felt like it had more longevity. I was in a, the cookie cutter, what everyone wants relationship with the suburban house and the great kid, and that he has a nuclear family, and I had checked all the boxes, and then my life blew up, and my worst nightmares, things that I hadn't even imagined were happening. Like, I am, there's things where you're like, are they cheating on me? Like, are they, and even if I had thought he wanted prostitutes, I would have imagined it completely differently. I never would imagine having to see it in a video. I mean, it was in my face. So trauma brain was full on, where you're just like, okay, my frontal cortex doesn't work. I need to trust whoever can help me. Who's that? The experts. I need to just bathe my brain in therapy. I need to lean on the people that love me no matter what and say, help. I cannot function as a human. And a lot of, I got to treat it with medication, balance the chemicals, and I need therapy. And then you get into therapy and you start really looking at yourself and less about what you're achieving or being good enough. And you start looking at, who am I as a person? And Meadows is 2 years of therapy in 5 days. So it's a crash course. And these people are trained to just talk and walk and act with this sense of unconditional love. They keep their voice nice and low, and they know they're dealing with survivors. And most people who have this type of huge trauma to me is like a concussion. Once you get one, it's a lot easier to get another, because especially when you have a traumatic event before you're the age of 25, your frontal cortex hasn't fully formed.
She was raped when she was 15.
Oh, yeah. So I was kidnapped, sexually assaulted when I was 15. But that's not the only...
All you fuckers saying that a comic jerking off in front of you is rape, go fuck yourself. Fuck yourself, you pieces of shit. Okay.
Yes. And I had some other traumas in my life, little T's and big T's, that being probably the biggest T for trauma. But you realize... So where was I before we got to that?
The Meadows is dealing with you as a traumatized person.
Yeah, they're giving you this sense of unconditional love, and you feel really safe. And in that safe place, as a survivor, you're finally able to sort of unpack your suitcase of who you are. You're able to kind of look at it and go, okay, who am I? Where did I come from? What is me? As opposed to, where do I want to be? How do I survive? And you have this moment in this really safe, nurtured place to look at it. And what you end up realizing, and it's in the middle of Arizona, and then it's beautiful, like it's gorgeous. After my second treatment, I went over the Grand Canyon, and it was just like, okay. And you realize, one, you are a tiny little speck on the planet, and the timeline, you're nothing, right? And it's just about you living your life and enjoying it. And the other thing that you realize is that you tap into that perfect child. Like, we're all perfect when we're kids. We're completely unadulterated. We're not messed up. We're not carrying baggage. We haven't made these terrible decisions about other people and ourselves. And you tap into that a little bit and you see the real joy there is in living, the joy we see in Sophia every day. Like, life is fun. And you understand that everybody's like that. Everybody's walking around as this adaptive adult and just trying to survive. And then you just go, okay, I'm just going to continue to survive because that's a piece of it. But I'm also going to enjoy the tiny little ride that I'm on. And I'm going to, I've been so betrayed and so broken by someone that I trust that you have two choices. You can hold trust and never let anyone have it, or you can say, these are the people that I trust, and you being upset with me, you not showing up isn't a violation of that trust. It's you being a human.
Yeah.
And that sort of transforms a little bit. And I think that took putting all of your faith and trust into one person and having them completely break that and realizing that trust is not something that, it's sort of subjective. You know, if I could say you could break my trust, but it's only because I decided that you broke my trust. I trust that you're my sister. I trust that we will always be in each other's lives. And like, that's as much trust as I can really give this relationship, right? I'm not going to trust you to show up every time you're going to say show up on time. Like, that's not something that I'm going to do, right? And I think that that Meadows taught me that life is a walk, it's a journey, it's a marathon of enjoyment and enjoying every little step. And it's not a sprint to the finish line. I don't want to get to the finish line. I don't want to get there fast, and I don't want to achieve all the things that I feel like I have to achieve for love. I want to find love. You looked at that flower today. There's love in that. You know, we hang out with dogs, these adorable goddamn dogs all day long. You know, life is really beautiful. It's fucking awful, but it's really beautiful. And that's kind of what I came out of Meadows with. And then what you end up in S-Anon or Al-Anon or any other, you know, Anon recovery group where you remind yourself every day, and there's other people on that journey. And you know, my advice to anybody who's having a moment, a discovery day, and that discovery day is usually it's not just this like one, oh my God moment where your whole life comes shattering down as you know it. It can be slow. You have little breadcrumbs, you know, that lead you. A lot of people end up finding an email, right? But that they were led to that email, you know, it's not like the computer was just open. Maybe they saw one email and then they looked at more, and you have that big breakdown. The first thing you have to do is take care of yourself. And then the second thing you have to do is realize that it is not about you at all. Everything that person did was completely about them. And then the third thing is going back and looking at when you found joy on your own, tapping back into that person and deciding if that person's going to stay in this situation or if that person, that joyful person, needs to leave and go somewhere else. And where do they want to go? And go with the path and figure out where it's going to take you. And I think I don't find any joy when you and I are fighting. I don't find any joy when Mom and I are fighting. And sure, sometimes I'll get upset and we'll get there, but that's not where I want to be. I want to be in a place of love and support. And even with my pain in the ass ex-husband and his flying monkey family of narcissists, I want to be in a place like, I mean, sometimes just it's absolutely ridiculous, but you're like, I don't really want to get enrolled in this ridiculous alternate universe you're living in. I just want to live in a place of love and support and happiness. So I'm just going to keep doing that. Yeah. And hope that you all join me in some way. But if you don't, I'm doing it. And that's where I'm headed.
All right, perfect. We have to cut because the cameras are dying, but that was great.